So in Wing 3 or 4, it sort of was more determined. You like basically, you went this way or that way, and it was sort of forcing you down a path. And this is kind of optional. Do you like this wingman, and do you foster a relationship with this wingman, or over here do you prefer this wingman? And it'll be sort of player choices, and then the relationship that you have with the different characters aboard the ship will sort of determine like how they grow to like you and what their relationship is with you. And then later on, it may have an effect on both either the story or the gameplay. So if you get along really well with someone later in the game, they may basically put their own life at risk to try and save you in a mission, whereas normally they wouldn't have done that. Yeah, I mean, we call it sort of relationship management. So it's set up in such a way that it's more similar to Wing Commander 1 in the way that you could finish the game and all your wingmen could be dead, and you could still finish you don't need to have this character at the end of the game. But it's sort of up to you on like which relationships you foster and develop. So hopefully it will feel more immediate and more real. That's kind of the goal. So.
Okay, I'm going to go right over here for this next question. Insert your name on the forums. Nox.
NOX.
NOX. That's the easiest one I've had so far.
Yes.
And what's your? Is your question hard though with an easy name?
What?
No, nothing. Go ahead. Ask your question.
No, okay. It's somewhat related though.
Okay.
In their games where it's all about getting your heritage, your dynasty, your family to victory, and if you die and you have a son who's too young to take over, the game's over. So obviously that's not going to happen in Star Citizen or in Squadron 42. But you proclaimed in Death of a Spaceman that if you die too often, you will have a permadeath and someone will inherit your legacy. Is there something planned to, like getting a girlfriend, getting a son, who has more advantage of getting the heir or being the heir, like paying no taxes or something like that, or would it be a good 80 million goal?
So the concept is, as a character, you go through and you essentially have a life, and you can age, and after too many deaths or close calls, however you want to do it, your body gives out, and then from then it will pass on to your heir or next of kin, and it's kind of up to you as a player who that's going to be. So you can imagine or make your next of kin the son or the daughter, or maybe just someone you knew that you would leave it to. And it's sort of up to the player's choice. But the idea is to have a kind of legacy. So my hope is, as you play the game, you play it, and there's like you've only got so long to try and achieve great things. So, find a jump point or kill a really tough pirate lord or something like that. And it's almost like you can go back. So I would hope that players would sort of like go, okay, well, I have a family legacy, and it's just like in the real world that you would go, okay, well, my father fought in this war and was a hero, and I need to be in, sign up for the UEE military and also be a hero or something like that. And but in terms of who that successor is, it's sort of up to the player to choose it, and however the player wants to determine it. So they could say, okay, well, I really see this as a son or a cousin or a daughter, or they could just say, oh, it's just someone else. It's completely up to the player to determine who that successor is. And generally, you would create that once your character has died, and you sort of step into the shoes or the roles of your successor, and it's up to you to sort of name that person and go from there.
But it's just like writing. It's not like we have to find an NPC or another player to mate with and get a son.
No, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to actually find a relationship. Get someone pregnant or anything. No.
What's wrong with mating with NPC? Let's find next question. Yeah, in the orange back here. Yes, sir. Hold on. Let's take through here, guys. Your name on the forum, sir?
Amri Khan.
Amri Khan? Okay, ask your question.
Yeah, so it kind of relates to his question about dying, because I read about maybe like losing limbs and stuff, so you'd have like a cybernetic limb instead. And I wondered, is it possible to start with a cybernetic limb for like role-playing or aesthetic reasons?
Actually, I haven't thought about that. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe you could get yourself blown up and then get an artificial limb. I don't know, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a bit early to sort of make a decision on that. I mean, the idea that we just had was that, actually most of the times if you, lose a battle, you will probably eject and you actually won't even lose a life. But the idea is if you didn't get to eject or someone shoots you in space, that's kind of you have that sort of you lose a life, and you only have so many of those before you properly die. And to sort of see how close you are to, I guess, the point that your character will pass on, that was kind of the idea, to see whether you had scars or you had an artificial limb. But I haven't really thought about sort of starting a character off with an artificial limb. So it's something to think about. So I don't have a good answer for you right now.
All right. Next question's back over here again. And your name, sir, on the forums?
And the forums, it's Knack und Back. In German, it's in English like break and bake.
Break and bake.
Break and bake. My question is, are there any plans for big container ships or cargo ships that are only for carrying goods from one planet to a space station or something like this, or for modules like medicine modules on other ships, or faster, really heavy armored, so that they can bring the goods really safe to one place? Yeah.
Okay, so well, the Starfarer is a pretty big ship. I think we during the live stream sort of showed some of the concept work for it, but I mean it's pretty large. I mean it's a ship that's as big as it's almost as big as the Corvette, and it's all about cargo. So right now it's the biggest sort of player ownable cargo ship, and it will shift a lot of cargo. There will probably be some bigger ships in that do the same kind of things that are sort of NPC driven in the game. But there's definitely going to be big cargo ships in it. I mean, we're going to have a whole simulated universe and economy. So you'll have, ships going from planet, taking goods, taking raw materials, going back and forth. I mean, everything in the universe is meant to, like, you could have no one playing the game and you could just be the only person in it, and you can fly around and you'll see the universe basically simulating. So people manufacturing goods, taking it to another planet, selling it, consuming it, et cetera, et cetera. So we're definitely going to have a lot of ships that haul cargo.
Okay, cool. You have a question?
Yeah, I do.
And your name on the forums?
Yeah, on the forums is Hiromatsu, the handle is
Hiromatsu. We've had your questions before on Wingman.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, now, recently we talked about arena modes. And I was wondering if there is any kind of stages in the tournaments, if there is a 1 versus 1, or if it's all against one until the last man is standing, or how you try to put that up.
Okay, so the questions about the arena mode that we talked about. So the kind of the idea with arena mode is a little bit like, if you remember the original Wing Commander, there was the arcade machine that you could like play and sort of practice before you actually got out there in a mission. So there's a little bit of that in arena mode. And the other thing that we were thinking was that it would be a good place that people could fly to sort of try tricks or without taking their ships out there and risking losing all the stuff they have. And that's kind of what we're going to run when we go to the dogfighting module, and the idea of arena mode. And then we've been sort of toying with the idea of making, I don't know whether you want to say esports, but the idea that you have different kinds of competitions, and you would have the sort of solo competition, the team competition. So like a team competition would be each team has a certain number of points, and also the ships you pick are worth different points. So like an Aurora will be maybe worth 1 point, but maybe a Constellation is worth, I don't know, 10 points or something. And each team gets to spend their points, have so many ships, and then whichever team gets to 100 points wins the match. And of course, if you blow a Constellation up, it's 10 points, but if you blow an Aurora up, it's 1 point, right? So, yeah, exactly. So we were thinking that we would have kind of classes that would be, only one kind of ship, like sort of NASCAR is a good example in America for that. And then you would have unlimited, like anyone can come with anything they want. So we were going to play around with it. We think it would be kind of fun. I mean, for a start, one of the goals with the dogfighting module and what we do is, like I said, my goal is when we make this game that everyone has as much fun during the process of making the game that by the time we finish it, everyone feels like they had their money's worth in backing it just